Welcome to Voltron. Today I'm just going to do a quick video of my Playmates Voltron and all the mods I've been doing over it for the last couple of days. So you can see here's the black lion's head, and I made it a lot skinnier, so let's do a comparison. So there you can see how it used to be kind of fat, now it's a little bit more narrow and pointier, which I prefer, because like before it looked kind of like a frog, it was just too wide. So I think this actually works better and is a little bit more like the Blitz way. And a cool thing about this neck mod is it lets the lion turn his head, so that's pretty great. So I think that turned out pretty nicely. But yeah, you can see I did a lot of modding to the head, so you can see where it's like still scraped up from just getting cut and made more thin, and his head crest and nose stick out more, which I kind of like, to make him look a little less flat. And then to transform the head, he still transforms normally. Oh, this back panel fell off somewhere. Okay, anyway, there's a lot of junk happening in here, so you can see this is the post for his neck joint. And then you can see there's these two ball joints for his jaws, and then one ball joint for his head. And this does cheat a little bit because my tolerances are a little bit off. So you can see the mouth opens and closes pretty nicely, so that works out nice. But then this ball joint, these two ball joints on the side get in the way a little bit, so the head can't go all the way up. So I do have to disconnect it a little bit to make that fit. So that is a little bit of a cheat right now. I'll have to figure that out later, but it's unfortunate these two ball joints are just kind of in the way a little bit. But then you can see with his head transformed, he's got a really great looking head mode. So I think this is a big improvement over the original. So we can see from my old video, that's what his head used to look like. And you can see what it looks like now. It's just like so much better. The helmet fits a little bit more snugly, and then he doesn't have that scrawny little neck joint like coming off to the side. This is just so much better, and it's a lot more like the Muscle Bear Club, which was the inspiration, of course. That's just such a great head sculpt. Alright, and as I'm getting him into robot mode, one other thing I did was I gave the lions this ugly joint back here. So this used to just like fold up here, but you can see there's a ball joint here, and you'll see why when we get to robot mode. Alright, and here we go in robot mode, and of course he's massive, so he's hard to get in camera. But I also found out while playing with this guy, if you actually mistransform these legs, they're supposed to be folded like this way. But if you actually do them wrong on purpose, these actually make better heels. So he can actually stand up a little bit better like this. Like, this guy usually just loves to fall over, but he's actually standing up pretty well. He especially works well in an A stance. In a neutral stance, he's kind of terrible, especially because these knee joints just love to wobble around. So he's more stable in an A stance for the most part. But yeah, if you do that, and the other cool thing you can do is you can kind of, instead of having these heads be flat, you can lower it one click, so he's kind of standing on his toes, and that actually helps him with stability too. So maybe not, but I like to think it does. It makes me feel better because yeah, he just loves to fall over, which is very annoying. Anyway, you can see he looks just really great. He's got a lot of shadow on his head because this huge visor, but he's got his head is barely pegged in. It's just like got this Lego joint for right now. I haven't glued anything in, which is kind of typical when I'm working on something. But the good thing about his new head is that now his jaw is not in the way, so he can actually turn his head. So he can actually turn his head, because usually his jaw is buried down here and he can only turn his head a little bit. So now he can actually turn his head like the full 360 degrees. So he can look all the way to the side, which is pretty cool. So that helps him look a little bit more dynamic. And then he's got this joint back here naturally, so he can also get like pretty convincing upward looking poses. And then you can get kind of a downward look, which is pretty good. So yeah, I'm really happy with the new joints on his neck. And then the other thing is, like I said, these ugly ball joints on the shoulder, and he's got like the same articulation he used to have, where his arms can go out basically this far. Oh, he's doing splits. So the reason I did that was because these ball joints let him turn his arms like this, whereas with the original figure, he has to turn his arms like this. The whole chest has to move, and then he can't move his arms backwards at all. With these ball joints, he can now move his arms to the back, so you can get some more appealing poses out of him. Like, he's just much more fun to pose now. Right. So maybe you can get like a pose like this or something, which I think is more dynamic than he used to be able to do. So that's pretty cool. I think that looks pretty awesome. And of course I gave him a new sword just because his original sword is too small. So I stole this from one of my Chinese combiner robots, which I think suits his aesthetic pretty well. But yeah, I think he looks a lot more awesome like this. Alright, and now he can like two-hand this sword without destroying his chest. So that looks pretty cool. And one other mod I worked on was I gave him bicep swivels. So that was actually the first mod I ever did with this figure. Yeah, he really hates standing up. It's like his... So that might be a huge thing I have to work on next, is maybe like giving him some decent heels, so he's not just always wanting to fall over. But yeah, he's got good bicep swivels now, in addition to a forearm swivel, which is stock. Oh yeah, and you can see that his arms come out the same way. You just press his chest, and then that connection port still works the same way it originally did, but the ball joint is on these now. And then I'll show you like what the inside of the shoulder looks like so you can see all the work. Okay, so we'll just go ahead and open up this panel here. And you can see he's got this PVC pipe. That's what gives him the articulation, the bicep swivel, and these screws are just to hold it into place. And then on the other side you can see the ball joint, which is just stuck in there with polyplastic. I don't even know how it's sticking. It's just, I just shoved it in there and everything just happens to stick in place. So it's just very lucky. Nice solid joint. It's very stiff. But yeah, that's the whole thing. But yeah, there he is. Again, really happy with how this guy turned out. I always wanted to fix his face because it was just constantly bugging me. And I'm glad I was able to figure it out. It was a lot of work, but I think it ended up being worthwhile. He just looks so cool now. But anyway, I'll see you in the next one.